It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you.
You got thunder camera there.
Yeah, I don't. He's too tall. Like, we just got to figure this out. If I do this again, will it turn blue?
There you go. Yeah,
good. Now bring it down. Okay, good.
It's coming down.
Now I can fix this again. The camera, the joys of the camera on X and YouTube. Coming up on today's show, yes. We're going to talk about him again. 34. So just sit tight. We'll get into some Giannis talk. Packers, stuff to talk about. Goody today. He's the general manager of a professional football team. And yet I feel like fans that watch the team see the team differently than what he sees the team. And sometimes it feels quite obvious of what we see that he just refuses to see. And today was no different, where he says stuff and you just shake your head and go, were you at the games? Did you watch the film? Are you sure you're the general manager of the Packers? Did somebody take over your body? Are you sure? There were some things today in that press conference with Brian Gutekunst. I shook my head and said, okay, well, again, we'll get into that, though. Throughout the show, we'll have some Packer stuff scattered throughout. Plus, as you hear in the open, Packers, Brewers, Bucks. We try to do Packers, Brewers, Bucks every day on this show when it's not Packers season. Obviously, Packers season is king, and be stupid not to. But we will have some Brewers talk. Bob Nightengale, Odyssey MLB Insider, and with USA Today as well, wrote a piece today on a star pitcher that is out there and still available to be signed in teams of note that could be in pursuit of said pitcher. Milwaukee Brewers are listed as one of those teams. And in that little blurb, he points out that he believes the Brewers are going to sign somebody here and spend some money because they really haven't spent any money on top of whatever they had last year. And that he expects them to do something, which, again, is what we've been hearing, right? They're going to make a splash. They're going to do something. We'll see it. We'll see if that happens. So Bob Nightengale coming up at 3:20. Jim Owczarski, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel Bucks beat writer, will join us coming up at 4:25 today. And he'll talk about the piece that he wrote, exclusive one-on-one interview with Giannis yesterday. And then things Sparky missed with the Milwaukee Admirals. Charlie Larson will join us there to wrap up the show at about 4:45. Now Giannis. Oh, man. We have the one-on-one interview that he did with Eric Name yesterday, or today, I should say. Well, yesterday, but it got posted today, of The Athletic. And Jim Owczarski had the one-on-one before the game, and that got posted on the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel website around 8 o'clock. I saw it at about 20 after 8. And he immediately reached out to Jim to try and get him on the show for today. And I have a simple question. Because obviously everybody's been talking about this throughout the day. What do you make of the Giannis situation now? Like, are you either more accepting of the fact that he may not be here after everything that he said, nice about Milwaukee and all of that? Are you more on the other side of, dude, he'll just say whatever it takes so he comes out looking like roses and smelling like roses in this whole thing? Are you in the camp of, I read both and I don't feel like I learned anything more than I knew before? Like, what camp are we in here? Where are you as a fan with Giannis? With Brett Favre, it was split. He divided Packer Nation to the point where people were fighting about whose side are you on, the Favre side or on the Packer side, right? That was a big war between Packer Nation. The worst I've ever seen, and hopefully I never see it again. And then you have the Aaron Rodgers thing. And like I said prior, I don't feel like that was that. I think people just grew tired of everything involving him. Like, It was just too much off the field stuff to take in, to be like, dude, I'm done. Like, just, you can go somewhere else and go do your Pat McAfee show and everything else. I'm just done, man. You've worn me out. I'm done. Not that everybody wanted to see him go or there was hate towards him. I think people just were done with him. They just grew tired. Different than Favre. And I don't know how to categorize what this is here with Giannis. But it is like Brett and it is like Aaron, where this is dragged on for multiple years here. When I read the Jim Owczarski article, and in that piece, he says, well, deep down, I'd like to stay on the Bucks and win another championship and retire a Buck, right? And after I read it, I grew enraged and angry. And I was going to do a video, and then I thought better of it, so I didn't. It's like, I'll just save this for tomorrow. Because my initial reaction to that statement in that piece was, if I'm John Horst, the Bucs general manager, I call a press conference for today. Immediately. And it's like, hey, saw what Giannis had to say to Jim Owczarski. Great piece. Great job, Jim. Right? And like he said, he wants to be a Buck and stay a Buck and retire a Buck. And that's really what he wants deep down. And on behalf of Bucks ownership and myself, I also don't want him leaving Milwaukee and playing somewhere else. So we are certainly not trading Giannis at this point. We look forward to him signing his extension later this year. I'll take questions. That's that. You want to play this game? I can play this game too. I also can go to the front of the class. Be like, okay, I'm going to call your bluff. Because see, what's happening here is we're playing the game of, I want them to look bad. I don't want to look bad. I want them to be the evil villains. I want them to be the bad guys. I want to come out on top of everybody still loving me. Then the Eric Name piece comes out from The Athletic. That was today. And I read that. And in that piece, he goes down a different road. He goes down the road of telling the story of how he got hurt, a couple weeks ago in the first quarter, and how he toughened it out, went back in there and continued to play, even though his wife and his agent and all these people that love him thought he was nuts to continue to play with a calf injury that, you could get yourself seriously hurt, and then who's going to watch you, and blah, blah, blah. It's not who I am. I'm not a quitter. Then, later in the piece, Giannis talks about how people may be looking at Giannis and saying, oh, looky here. It gets tough, and Giannis bails. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He's not James Harden, right? And Giannis shouldn't be painted as James Harden. But you are the one who's been saying this entire time about loyalty, never asking for a trade, I'll stay in Milwaukee, all this other stuff. That's been you. And when you were saying it early on, I was on the radio saying, shut up. Don't say that. They're going to use this against you later. You're not going to be here your whole career. Stop saying that. Odds are highly against you. And then I had people listening to me going, Sparky, he believes it. Why can't he be Dirk? Why can't he be Kobe? Why can't he be Duncan? Why can't he play in the same place his whole career? Who are you to say he's going to leave, Sparky? And I was the bad guy for telling him to stop talking like that. Okay. the piece of this that rubbed me the wrong way, that I know endeared him to you, so I'm fully aware that I'm going to irritate most of you when I say this. This whole thing about, well, I got married here and I buried my dad here and my kids on their passport have born in Milwaukee and all of this. If you believe, and it's up to you, that he's had one eye looking to greener pastures for the last several years and simply hasn't figured out a way to get himself there because the Bucs continue to maneuver to keep him here, I'm sorry. I don't buy into the whole, oh yeah, all of this happened here. Yeah, but again, it appears, and he himself said it, about the whole wedding ring on, wedding ring off thing last year. That's who he was. He could have been out of here right away after the championship season and been on his way. He could have been out of here before the championship season, before they got Drew Holiday. That's what that was all about, trying to get him to sign an extension. And then they got Lillard, trying to get him to sign an extension. That's what this was all about. So that too, it's just like, I'm not saying you don't love Milwaukee. I believe that he likes the town. I believe that he gets down with the fans. I did chuckle and laugh when he said, nobody bothers me. I got news. That's not going to be the case in New York. It's not going to be the case in Miami. It's not going to be a case in Minneapolis. That's just not going to happen. And if you go to LA, which I don't see happening, but if you were to go to LA, enjoy the paparazzi. Hope it works out. You go to New York, enjoy the paparazzi. Hope it works out. And I'm willing to bet you they'll be in Miami too. Like it's going to be completely different. So the question is, what do you make of the Giannis situation now? Where are you on the Giannis situation now? I saw several people tweeting me, they better not trade him. How could you possibly trade him after you just read what we read? Nicolay Law Talk text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials, WI Sports Radio. What do you make of the situation with Giannis now? Trell, north side of Milwaukee, you're first up on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Trell?
You know what, Sparky? I've said this so many times and I'm blue in the face. Listen, if we're in a perfect world, I would love to have Giannis here and love to keep building and trying to win another championship. That is not going to happen. That's not the world that we're living in. This thing has kind of been gone the wrong way ever since we won the championship. We've been injury-bitten. We've made trades that didn't pan out. We signed guys in free agency that just haven't been what we thought they were going to be. Is just our coaching hires.
Hey, hold on. You said there's not a way to where they can make this to where he would want to stay, right? That's your stance on this, Trell. They can't fix it.
I think this is what I think. Maybe they can, Sparky. I don't think they can. I don't think they're going to be able to win again.
All right, check this out. Hold on. This is Sam Vesson from The Athletic. What was this? 2 days ago, I think it was?
Yep, 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Check this out.
Are you really going to turn down 275?
Talking about Giannis turning down that Supermax money.
Is that something you're going to do? And see if he signs it. That's like another possible, like that's the other thing that they can play in negotiations with teams. I'm open to that as an idea. And I think there are worlds where you can do this. Again, say that they're able to like do a Ja Morant deal involving like Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, and it'd probably have to be Rollins, but like if you're making them take back Kyle Kuzma, it would probably have to be Rollins in the deal is the problem. And they don't have like the expiring money to be able to send back. Say that that's it, right? You then have, I believe, 2 first-round picks that you can trade on top of having your pick this year. So essentially, you'd be treating this year as a gap year, which is something they threw at Giannis previously, and he seemed not excited about, according to reporting. Do you decide, okay, we now have Ja Morant the 7th overall pick. Let's call him Keaton Wagler. Let's call him, Kingston Flemings at 5 or whatever pick you end up with, right? We have those two in the backcourt. We have Miles Turner. We have Giannis. We have some salary flexibility moving forward to go get another guy. We have 2 picks that we can trade, 2023 or 2031 first round pick, 2023 first round pick. We can go out and get other guys now to surround you with. Put your money where your mouth is. Don't sign the deal when we think we can present you with like a fairly competitive situation.
What say you, Trell?
He's not going to sign the extension, Sparky. And this is the thing. And this is what I'm scared of most of everything, because the only reason why Giannis is doing this right now is because Giannis wants to be liked.
Yes.
Anybody, a Bucks fan, and all these years, you should know he doesn't want to be disliked. He was disliked in his own country, his whole childhood. So he finally came to Milwaukee. He's been being embraced for over a decade here, and now it's time for the pedal to get to the metal, and it's time for him to actually make a move in his career. And he's seeing how this is shaping out, and he doesn't want to be looked at as a villain. He doesn't have that capability as far as him being the villain. I don't care what he says. And that's what this is all about. He's not signing the contract extension here, Sparky. The writing has been over the wall. Now, if the Bucks wait, and they're going to have – this is what I believe is going to happen. I hate to say it, but I guess it's the Milwaukee sports fan in me. If they wait till this offseason, they're going to get an underwhelming deal, or Giannis is going to get hurt playing because he's coming back to play.
Well, if you wait to the offseason, there's going to be more teams that are going to be able to get in on the bidding, and odds are you're going to be able to get a bigger package in the offseason.
No.
Because more of these teams are going to have more draft picks available.
Sparky, that's not going to happen because guess what? If he's got 1 year on his deal, he's going to tell you where he's going to. You take it or leave it. You're going to get an underwhelming, I can guarantee you, I will bet somebody any amount of money. He's not going somewhere, or he's not going to agree to an extension with another team just because it gets you something.
Well, no,
He's
that's going to be up to him.
So you're going to have to take whatever they give you.
So you can make a deal with Minnesota, and he can be like, I'm not signing an extension. Minnesota goes, that's cool. We'll take a year and gamble. Then Anthony Edwards will sell him on staying here. Let's go. I mean, you're right, as far as teams are going to want to know if he wants to sign the extension or not, and then they're going to have to make the choice of whether or not they want him. Toronto knew that they probably weren't going to be able to keep Kawhi Leonard past a year, and they won a championship.
Not many teams is going to do that, though, Spark. I get what you're saying.
But it's Giannis.
And there's no way a team is going to give you 4 or 5 first-round draft picks and a good player, a good young player, for somebody to tell them that they're not either not going to sign or they don't know if they're going to sign. Now, in the Toronto case, Toronto didn't trade a whole bunch. They traded something for him, but not a whole bunch because he was a rental for the most part. So I just don't know. I think the Bucks are overthinking this. This guy has showed us all the signs that he doesn't want to be here, and now it's to the point where he's trying to put the stuff in the paper to make fans feel like, okay, we know you love us, Giannis. If something happens, we're still going to love you type of thing. I don't buy it.
So that Kawhi Leonard deal was Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green from the Spurs in exchange for DeMar DeRozan, who was that young up-and-coming guard, Jacob Poeltl, the center, and a protected 2019 first-round pick.
One pick.
That's it. But now there is not a young DeRozan out there per se.
Yeah. And okay, so the Bucks are looking to get like Jaden McDaniels and 4 or 5 first round picks. So, and that's not going to change in the offseason. Who's going to give him that if he's not going to commit to signing an extension with somebody? Nobody's giving him that.
We're going to find out, Trell. Thanks for the call. I hear you that if this goes sideways and he gets hurt, blows out that Achilles between now and the end of the year because he wants to play, and then he's out all of next year. Now he walks for nothing on a player opt-out year, and he goes into free agency and signs whatever he wants. And then the Bucks get absolutely nothing. That is some of the pressure that you probably feel right now if you're Bucks brass. The outside people are going, you're an idiot if you make a deal right now because you could turn this into a bidding war in the summer.
You could. And I think that with Giannis, this whole idea of him not wanting to be the bad guy in this situation, I think if he were to blow out his Achilles, I don't think he would opt out of that player option. I think he would come back for that one more year, still prove that he can go out there and play well, and maybe even give the Bucks a chance to trade him then. I think that the way he's playing this now, he's giving the Bucks, or trying to give the Bucks, I think, as much ammo as they can if they do want to make this trade, do want to make this move in the future. And I think he would still give them that second opportunity, not just opt out right away after being out for the end of the season.
Let's go to Q in Tosa. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talking text line. What's up, Q?
This is so much fun.
No,
this is like,
it's not.
It is. Well, I mean, it hasn't been fun, but like this week it's so exciting. And like the Jim O and Eric Name articles, like this is fine drama in sports. And I really think the Bucks can't lose. Like they have drum up enough of a market in demand for Giannis right now.
So you don't think they can screw this up? Is that what you're saying?
I think that they will not trade Giannis right now unless it's like an amazing deal, like almost a Luka style overpay.
Yeah, who they just blew up that whole team today, trading Anthony Davis to the Wizards. So yeah,
but like I just think like the Bucks are in the driver's seat, and I think I think a lot of the frustration is just like it's been happening for the last 6 to 10 months where it's really been amped up, and then we're all just sick of what's been going on the last 5 to 10 years because of all these rumors. But like right now, just sit back and enjoy. Like I don't think they're going to trade him for nothing. So we're either going to get to cheer for Giannis on a new team, and have a bunch of assets, or Giannis is going to be around and we're going to have a chance to retool this roster this offseason with 3 picks to trade. And then like all these teams that were interested are just going to they're going to sharpen their pencils and have even more to offer. And if we trade them before the draft, we'll know what picks we're getting. Like the Bucks cannot lose in my mind. I'm excited. This is fun.
It's not fun. Thank you for the call. It's not fun. How in the world, in any scenario, is trading the best player in organization history? How is that fun? How is it fun agonizing every other day about whether or not the dude's going to be on the team tomorrow when you wake up? How is that fun? Like, there's been nothing fun about any of this crap. And furthermore, you're not going to sell me on they can't screw this up. Man, I've been a fan too long to know that anything is possible. You can screw anything up, regardless if you want to or not. So, and then on top of that, you give me Jimmy Haslam as one of the owners, guarantee you they could screw this up. I promise you it's possible that they could screw this up. So, yeah, no. A, it's not fun. And B, no, I'm not convinced that they will not screw this up. I think there is a chance that they could screw this up. And if they do screw this up, I'm not blaming John Horst. You blame the ownership group. I'm not blaming that dude because, like I said, he's just one of a few. They're going to decide how this goes. At the end of the day, they're going to tell him what they want him to do. So, however this plays out. 262 Scotty Tiffany, just a hunch, but I feel like his comments are foreshadowing a trade. He's making amends preemptively to the city of Milwaukee and the teams. He's beloved here, wants to stay that way regardless of where he ends up. Absolutely, you're correct, Scotty Tiffany. That's exactly what he's doing, Charlie.
That's what it sounds like. Again, I think he's very much just shoving the ball back into the Milwaukee Bucks court and just saying, and again, I don't think it's in a malicious way. I think it's just him saying, you guys have to make a decision, whether it's trade me, whether it's not trade me. Like we need this to start picking up here. And I know the trade deadline is going to make that decision a lot easier because it's coming up so quickly here. Right. But at the same time, I think all I've heard from Giannis, all I've heard from the front office and the different people that have kind of touched on the subject, Jimmy Haslam yesterday, it's just a lot of people just passing the ball around, trying to have somebody make a decision. And I just don't understand why, I guess, it is becoming so hard to make that decision. I know Giannis keeps having these comments back and forth, but if it's as stressful on the Milwaukee Bucks as it seems like it is, and nobody wants to really make this decision, why is not just one person just standing up and making a decision for them then?
Exactly. Somebody has to take the leadership role. Exactly. 1,000% on that. This one comes from Bob, and it says, they didn't get Drew and Dame so Giannis would sign an extension. That's ridiculous. They got them so they could win championships. That's how everyone gets paid. Owners, GM, coach, players, and Giannis. Your take is ridiculous, Sparky.
Bob, you don't win a championship without Giannis, champ. Like, I don't know how else to like say that easier.
And it was very convenient that the years they got him was the year in which he could sign an extension. Coincidental, I guess, maybe. They won a championship with Drew Holiday, Bob. Why did they need to go get Damian Lillard for, Bob? Why do you think they needed to do that? Because it was time for him to sign again, and he wanted more. He always wants more. And guess what? When you're an MVP and the best player in franchise history, you can have those demands.
He has every right to want more.
Yes, you can play the role of LeBron, because that's really what we're at this point. You can be LeBron for the Bucks, and he's earned that right to be LeBron for the Bucks. Then as an ownership group, you have to figure out whether or not you're going to let him be that. And they let him be that. With coaches, with players, with all this stuff. They let him do whatever he wanted to do. And they bowed over however many times they could to try to make him happy. That is exactly how this played out. And one other thing, that Q call earlier. If you really think I'm cheering for that cat on another team, you have lost your mind. There is zero chance.
Well, if he's in Minnesota, Chicago, he'll be right there. You could go watch those games, Sparky.
Never. Nope. Won't buy his jersey. Won't root for him. No, absolutely not. Now, I will say this. If it's, Giannis's team against Jimmy Butler's team, yeah, I'm going to root for Giannis's team because I can't stand Jimmy Butler. Like, it's not going to be like with Brett, I'm going to boo that cat wherever he shows up. Or the trader with the Cubs, I'm going to boo him wherever he shows up. It's not going to be like that. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, Giannis is on tonight with the T-Wolves. I'm going to turn it on and watch. No, I'm not. No. And I'm definitely not hoping he wins a championship in Minnesota. And I'm not rooting for him to be successful in Minnesota. Once he's out of a Bucks uniform, I'm done with you. See ya. Bye-bye. Don't care what happens. Now, you come back later, you retire a Buck, whatever, put a statue up. Sure, yeah. Applaud, talk about, reminisce about his career and be happy, fine. But if you ain't with us, you're against us. That's how this works.
You've
Plain and simple.
never once cheered for anybody else when they switched teams? Ever?
I don't think so.
That's crazy.
The closest thing I had to that would be Dwayne Wade. I cheered for him in Miami, but he was never a Buck. But I loved him at Marquette.
Think about it this way, though. So, how me and Tommy really like kind of mediocre players sometimes?
Bad players.
You've had like your favorite bad or mediocre player before, right? Like if they move on from your favorite team because they're just not that good and have an opportunity to go play somewhere else and they start playing well there, do you cheer for them in that case?
I don't think I would know one. The closest one to that might be Ramon Sessions, who I called the star in waiting or whatever.
I think that's fair.
Back in the day, that might be the closest one. But outside that, no, not really.
You didn't root for him
if you're not in my uniform, I'm probably not rooting.
Crazy.
Unless like a college thing, right? Like I loved Wade at Marquette. Yeah. That was different. He never was in a Bucks uniform, so it was in Miami. It wasn't a rival team at that point. They weren't a rival team. So yeah. So I guess that would be the only one. All right, take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sports Book. Still to come, Bob Nightengale, MLB insider with USA Today. He'll join us coming up at 3:20. Jim Owczarski, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel Bucks beat writer, who had that exclusive interview with them before the game last night. He joins us coming up at 4:20. Looking forward to that as well. Wendy's really outdid themselves with these new biggie deals, $4, $6, and $8. I got the $6 biggie deal today. The new biggie deals are bigger and bigger than ever. If you're feeling something snacky, you can get the $4 biggie bites. Feeling something medium, get yourself a $6 biggie bag. With the Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, if you want to go full biggie, you can get the $8 biggie bundle with your choice of 2 sandwiches, a small soft drink, and a junior fry. The choice is yours for a pretty biggie deal. It's got to be Wendy's. They have the double stack available in that $6 biggie deal. I went with the double stack today. And then got the sauce to dip in and stuff. Yeah, and you dip your fries in it too. It's good with fries into that sauce.
That's what I had it with when I tried it the other day. Mm-hmm. Delicious.
Yeah, that signature sauce at Wendy's is really, really good. All right, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Hughes, other side of the glass. I'm on the situation with Giannis. We're going to get some Packers coming up in the next segment. Brian Gutekunst, I don't know, man. Like, I don't. I know that I will defend him on lots of things over the course of time. That presser today, man, I don't know. I feel like, did he watch the same team as us? Did he watch the same games as us? Like, what am I missing here? Like, one of the biggest weaknesses we said going into this offseason, we're going to talk about in the next segment. He just stood up there and said, I thought they played pretty good. I got no issues here. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But we've been talking about Giannis. Got another one coming in here on the Nicolay Law Talking text line, the 920 Ryan and Tosa. Sparky, how did you feel about Ray Allen leaving Milwaukee? I still cheered for Ray Allen with the Miami Heat, as well as I will root for Giannis if he were here to go to another team. Ryan, when Ray Allen was traded that night, I threw a party on the radio. I was working at a radio station in Milwaukee. And that's because I knew a lot of stuff going on behind, and that he pretty much blew that team up single-handedly with all of his antics behind the scenes involving Grunfeld and Cole and everybody else. It's pretty much single-handedly blew it up. So, yeah, I was thrilled to get him the hell out of here. I had no problem with it whatsoever. Now, again, front-facing, how he was, all that, great, right? Great. Let's go talk to the Celtics guys about that, dude. Regardless of that, I was excited, okay? Secondly, Gary Payton. I remember, now this was me being stupid. It's like, oh man, Gary Payton's gonna come here. They got George Karl. Like, he'll sign an extension. Him and Sam will kick it in the backcourt. I remember their first game was against Portland, and those two were balling out. I was like, oh man, they're gonna be good together. This is gonna be good. And there was he's still out there. Softy Mailer, I believe is his name, out in Seattle. And him and I made a bet on the radio about if he if he doesn't sign the extension and leaves Milwaukee, I had to send him a case of brats. And then if it happened the other way, he was going to send me something. I was like, all right, yeah, sounds good. And obviously I lost and had to send him a case of brats at the end of the day. But yeah, no, I'm not a Ray guy. Never have been. Mainly just because I knew about a bunch of stuff that was going on. Unlike most people that loved Ray for what they saw on TV and what they saw and watching him on the basketball court. I wasn't that guy. So either way. So that's the wrong guy to bring up with me. Greg in New York texted, nothing to do with any new articles. I don't think it's smart to sign with him. In general, I think 34 is torn about whether or not he wants to be here or not. I think there's a chance you can sway him in the summer to sign long-term. Hang on to him as long as you can. Go Bucks. I agree with you, Greg. Hang on to him as long as you can. Now, like Trell brought up, you risk him getting hurt. These calf strains that he claims he has, you've seen over and over again in the NBA, lead to blown Achilles, and you're gone for a year. And if he blows that Achilles between now and the end of the year, then he has no trade value going into next summer. You're completely screwed. And then he walks on a player op year. And then that's it. He goes to wherever he wants to go at that point. That is the situation you face yourself in. So I do think there is some pressure on the Bucks to potentially do this now, unless Giannis agrees to stay home, which he's not going to.
No. And again, he's going to keep putting out this front-facing kind of, I don't want to be the bad guy type of role here. And I think the Bucks, if you do go into the situation where you want to keep him through this offseason, he gets hurt, you have to rely on him continuing that and continuing keeping this rhetoric going that he keeps putting out, that he wants to be here, that he wants to be a Milwaukee Buck. And you have to trust that he trusts you guys. And if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks right now, that's really hard to believe. That's really hard to want to sit here and go, yeah, I trust you through all this. Now, personally, I think Giannis will. I think, again, if you give him this opportunity to prove that he can keep this team in that competitive nature and that you are willing to keep working with him, keep finding new ways to kind of retool this team around him, like you have shown that you're willing to do, I think that if he got hurt, he would, again, take that player or stay on the team, take that player option, and give the Bucks another chance to at least trade him again later on.
There are so many questions in all of this as far as what the best move is for the Milwaukee Bucks and making sure you put yourself in a position to get the biggest haul that you possibly can. without potentially losing him to some type of injury. If I could guarantee the Bucs he's healthy come the summer, I think they absolutely go, we're not even taking calls. We're just going to wait to the summer. We're good. But because you can't do that, I think there's some of that for sure. John Paul in Tosa. My camp, Bucks get what they deserve for Giannis. All the picks and good young talent, even if that means Giannis plays for the Bucks next year. The front office knows it. Giannis knows it since last year. The rest is noise on both sides. That's John Paul in Tosa. Said it before, say it again. Would not want to be John Horst, would not want to be Bucks ownership, and having to make this decision on what deal puts you in the best position. Because if 5 years from now, after all these picks have been made and everything else, and you're sitting at the bottom of the East still and have blown several draft picks and not making the right decision on several different guys, and it looks like it's going to be a long time before you win, that's how this is going to go down. That's how this is going to be remembered. Now, if you make this trade and 5 years from now you're competing to win the East and you've hit on 2 or 3 of these draft choices and you look like you're going to be here for a while, then it's lauded, regardless of what Giannis does. Giannis could go win 2 championships. But if you've got yourself in a position to win in the East again or win the East again and go back to a championship with a whole different cast of characters, Bucks fans won't care about Giannis winning championships. They'll just be super excited that, oh my God, they actually didn't screw this up and they put himself back in position to win, like Oklahoma City Thunder when they blew up their team with Durant and Westbrook and those guys, and Harden got themselves right back into it.
Well, and what we're seeing across the NBA right now, just at this trade deadline alone, but the previous few trade deadlines, is that it's really kind of easy to build a completely new team halfway through the season if you want to, and to give yourself a completely different chance than you had before the season. The Wizards are a brand new team right now, and if everybody can stay healthy, that's a pretty good playoff team right there. It's weird how quickly
Trae Young and AD things. All of a sudden. We'll get more into that at 3:00. 921. Tell me if you agree with this, Char, or 917, I should say. If he blows the Achilles, Giannis, he'll sign here, so I'll take the risk.
Again, I think that's pretty fair. I think him and the Bucks, I think he'd be willing to give the Bucks the chance for himself to prove himself one more year. And if he blows his Achilles, his number is going to be a lot lower on the open market.
I don't think it will be.
I think the Bucks give him the best opportunity, the safest opportunity to get the guaranteed money.
He blows the Achilles. It's not going to affect his number. People are going to line up to pay that dude regardless. I honestly don't think that's true. I think whoever it is comes in with a 5-year deal for all this money, and then he takes it and goes. If you're right, if you're both right, that he's going to play here another year after that, then I don't get as worried about this.
You've seen a lot of players that I think rely heavily on athleticism, much like Giannis does in his game, have their careers be altered completely by a major injury. Blake Griffin, Derrick Rose, John Wall, talking about their Wizards. All those guys, yes, not to the caliber of Giannis, but their careers were altered by major injuries. It could be the same for Giannis.
Another one here from the 414. What if the Bucks let him rest the rest of the season, hope he'll be great and good to go for next year, and then he goes off and plays in Greece again this summer? Can't control that. Doesn't matter. You can't control it. I'll take a quick time. I'll come back on the other side. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's where you're going to want to be on Sunday to watch the game. There's no other place than that place. 2,000 square foot screen, 30 different sporting events at once. Great sound system, 2 levels, Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen, unmatched food. You have 48 different beers on tap, over a dozen different specialty cocktails, homemade desserts and pastries. You got all kinds of seating options, high tables, big booth. I can see like 8 to 10 people. These cool, like little cozy, like they look like rocking chairs. I don't know what the correct word is, but very comfortable, like leather chairs, all kinds of options. Now, all you have to do to reserve your seat today is go to Potawatomi.com, look for the sports book, and reserve. Nominal fee goes towards your food and beverage cost. You're going to spend that anyhow. That game's going to take like 4 hours by the time halftime show and everything else happens. So go sign up today. Plus, they also have tickets available you can buy to go have your own special party that they're throwing in the annex area, which is a separate room from the sports book. So lots of different ways to watch the game at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Check them out today, Potawatomi.com. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. We're going to jump into the Packers here momentarily. They win, right? They win. You know who else wins? Habish, and Rotier wins as well, man. 13 different locations all over the state. Whether it's Milwaukee, Green Bay, Appleton, Madison, Sheboygan, Wausau, wherever you want them to be, they probably are more than likely at this point. And they have been since 1930. And as I always say, hey, man, when you start talking about, getting hurt and maybe being involved in a car accident. I remember back in the day when I got in a pretty bad car accident on the interstate, sideswiped by one and then T-boned by a semi. Yeah, man, like I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what I was going to do or which way to go or whatever. You need people that you can trust, right? In those situations that have your back. And that is what's made Habish, and Rotier so successful. They've done it over and over and over again. More than likely, you probably know somebody that Habish, and Rotier has represented at some point. I'd pretty much guess every person that's in this state or has lived here their whole life probably knows somebody that has used Habish, and Rotier, and it's worked out for them. Check them out today. Visit Habish.com. National reputation, hometown service. You will not regret it. 800-242-2874. That's 800-2HABISH. Again, or check them out at Habish.com. Your case becomes their most important case when they take you on. We're going to talk about Brian Gutekunst's comments today at his press. So we'll get more in depth on that coming up at 4 o'clock during our Green and Gold update segment brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Also need to get you updated on what's going on at the NBA trade deadline. Chris Paul just got dealt to the Toronto Raptors. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Bob Nightengale, Odyssey MLB insider and USA Today insider, joins us coming up at 3:20. He wrote a piece today for the USA Today talking about a pitcher, probably the best pitcher still available on the market right now in free agency, and that he has the Brewers listed as one of the potential teams to sign this pitcher. So when I saw that this morning, I was like, okay, well, we need to talk Brewers, and I need to make sure we get him on to talk about said story, because there's been a lot of people, including Tim Allen, on Hot Stove Weekly, talking about they're going to make a splash. They're going to make a splash. You'll see. And I keep saying, you're lying. There's no... How do we even know that? You don't know that. You're hoping. You can say, I hope they make a splash. I don't think anybody knows they're going to make a splash. But maybe he's right. Maybe they will make a splash. Tonight, Tim and Tommy Wirtz, Hot Stove Weekly tonight from 5 to 7. It was supposed to be Andrew Vaughn on tonight. Logan Henderson taking his place. Something came up with Andrew Vaughn. So Logan Henderson, Jake Bowers tonight here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Make sure to tune in from that 5 till 7. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in, hour number 2. Hope all is well in your world here on a Wednesday. NBA trade deadline tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Bucks still with no moves as we currently sit here today. Lots of other NBA moves, however. We'll get you updated on some of that. We'll get to Bob Nightengale, MLB Insider. USA Today joins us coming up here in about 20 minutes or so, as he has the Brewers as one of the teams interested in a big-name free agent starting pitcher. Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll get more into Brian Gutekunst's presser from earlier today at 4. Jim Owczarski, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel Bucks beat writer, who had the exclusive interview with Giannis before last night's game, which they won. So Jim Owczarski will join us coming up at 4:20. And then Things Sparky Missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals, coming up at 4:40. I'm just telling you now, I'm not going to be excited about wins. So just so y'all can understand where I'm at, I'm not going to celebrate. I'm not going to cheer. I'm not going to be happy about wins. I'll tell you what I was happy about last night. I was happy that they played with effort and energy, and they played hard for the whole game. Like, the third quarter was a little rough coming out the third, but outside of that, there was good energy. They played well. Ryan Rollins could learn to pass a little bit more than he does. He was driving me nuts in the second half of that game. But for the most part, I liked how they played. I thought they played a pretty good basketball game against the Bulls.
I can't say that when I saw in the starting lineup I was going to have an Amir Coffey versus Isaac Okoro matchup that I was too excited for a game like this. But in the lineup tonight, Kevin Porter Jr. is no longer on the Bucks injury report, so that's something to be kind of excited about if you want to see him back on the court.
So now let's see if I got this right. So they don't trade Giannis. They're going to have Giannis and KPJ back for the remainder of the run.
That's what
then all of a sudden they could potentially figure out a way to get into that 10 hole and take themselves right out of the lottery.
They could. Or maybe a healthy KPJ could be thrown into maybe a John Morant conversation like we were talking about earlier.
We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brian Gutekunst talked earlier today for the Green Bay Packers. And amongst many things that he talked about, he was asked about the cornerback room for the Green Bay Packers.
You know, again, we had some injuries there. Obviously, Hobbs, was missed for most of the season, never really got going. I thought Carrington stepped in and did a great job. I think he continues. He's a young player that's still getting better. Keyshawn obviously had a very, very good year. I think he was in the top 3 in PBUs, and it did some really good things. So do we need wholesale changes? No. I do think it's an area, though, that those guys, those guys can get hurt. They're the smaller guys on the field. We ask a lot of those guys in run support. So the depth there for me is important, that we have answers.
This is my thing, man. I don't understand how anybody could potentially look at this cornerback room and say depth. No, you need starters. This isn't about depth. You need starting cornerbacks. You do. And you could sit here and try and sell me on, well, when Micah was out there, hey, cool. Micah, very entertaining last night in a little wheelchair or whatever he was rolling around on at the Pro Bowl. Probably the most entertaining part of the game. But there's no guarantee he can stay healthy. There's no guarantee he's going to be out there all the time. And those cornerbacks got exposed for what they were. Not good when Micah Parsons wasn't out there, because Rashawn Gary couldn't get to the quarterback the whole second half of the year. So then they were exposed at that moment in time. And to sit here and try and sell the fans on, oh, they're good, we're good, we only need a depth piece or two maybe. Acting like Nixon, Valentine, and Hobbs are your answers to this whole thing. What am I missing? Should the Packers be as comfortable with their cornerback position as Brian Gutekunst appears to be at this point? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials, WI Sports Radio, whether it be on X, whether it be on YouTube, wherever it may be, we are here with you, as well as Facebook and Instagram and all those other fun stuff. And there's some talk of TikTok possibly coming to you at some point. So stay tuned for potentially having TikTok in your future with Wisconsin.
Are you going to get TikTok then, Sparky?
No. Is it potentially? I'm not really pro TikTok, so they're going to have to win me over before we get to that point. But this is the thing. We can sell the idea of, hey, man, he's got to say that. You don't want to throw your guys under the bus publicly, right? You want these guys to either hold trade value or make it so teams don't know what you're going to do in the draft or what you're going to do in free agency. Because according to Brian Gutekunst, they can go get whoever they want to get in free agency if they want to. Now, in order to do that, they're going to probably have to cut a couple of guys, rearrange some money, do some extensions, do whatever in order to create the cap space. But he feels pretty good that they can go out and get help if they need help at different areas. And we were going to do a topic yesterday we didn't get to, so we'll probably do it tomorrow as far as, where are we going here as far as what positions you want to focus on the draft, what positions you want to focus on using free agency and spending money at that point. Where do you want to play with your money? For me, personally, I like the idea of signing a pass rusher that has experience, who I know can get out there. The name that's been coming up for 2 years is Khalil Mack. I don't care how old that guy is. Oh, Khalil Mack in the Packers. Oh, Khalil Mack in the Packers. Yeah. Right. So whether it's Khalil Mack, whoever it is, to go out there and replace Rashawn Gary if you move on from Rashawn Gary, which we'll see if that happens. So then spend your money there. I don't feel like the cornerback position is one where I want to go spend money because you are probably not going to be able to get a deal on a really good cornerback. What will probably end up happening is it'll be an aged cornerback that's lost a half a step that you're essentially hoping finds a fountain of youth for a 1-year deal and do that, or an unproven guy that's shown flashes that you hope you can make better, like Hobbs. Those are your two possibilities in free agency. So if it's me, when we look at this cornerback position, I'm using the draft. That's the way I'm going to approach this. Maybe I draft 2 corners. Maybe I draft 3 corners between the second round and the end of the 7th round. Maybe I sign a couple unrestricted or undrafted free agents as well. Throw a bunch of new guys into that room and see if I get lucky and one of them sticks and can be a contributor this year. Like Sam Shields, undrafted free agent. Trevon Williams, same, was in with the Texans, didn't work out. Green Bay snags him and ends up having a big-time career for the Packers. That's what you've got to find here. You've got to find somebody that can legitimately be a difference maker in that cornerback room right now.
I think that's partially why Brian Gutekunst makes the comments that he does, though, in this situation, is that you're still having to do the research and having to find those right players that are going to be at that position. You don't have a pick until the second round. So there's going to be a lot of players that are going before they get to you. A lot of players that you may have expected to be at your pick that may not be at your pick, or teams trading up in front of you that you need to be a little bit more aggressive against, playing defense in order to get the player you want. There's a lot of question marks to what the Packers are going to be able to do this offseason, depending on what they do with cutting players like we've talked about, or moving contracts around and adjusting how players are getting money that way as well. I think the real concern is that there's a possibility that you do go into next season with Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine at cornerback, and Brian Gutekunst doesn't want to say anything else just in case that is a reality that could happen.
Charlie, in reality, what he probably should have said was, and he did at one point in this press conference, they asked him about, are you going to play a 3-4 defense or a 4-3 defense this year? And that's a big difference, right? 3 linebackers or 4, 3 linemen or 4 linemen. It's a big, big difference. He said, that's up to Jonathan Gannon. He's going to look at the film, look at the players to determine what kind of scheme he wants to play. To which I say, correct answer. That's exactly what it should be. You should not force your coordinator into playing a scheme that he doesn't feel comfortable playing with the talent that he has. So from that perspective, I'm in. However, that same idea should apply to the cornerbacks on this team. If he looks at these cornerbacks and go, and I don't know, I don't think it's really going to matter if I play 3-4 or 4-3. I don't know if either one of these guys really are starting cornerbacks. Maybe they're a nickel on a really good defense. The other thing about Gannon is detail oriented, right? That's what we always talk about. So if that's the case, does he trust, because he's going to do some background checks on these guys, does he trust Keyshawn Nixon can do what he is told? Does he trust Carrington Valentine can do what he's told? When you start thinking about undisciplined guys on defense, who's the first name you come up with?
Keyshawn Nixon.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's probably the most undisciplined.
So if you're Jonathan Gannon, what are we messing around with this cat for? Like, let's move into a different direction and go somewhere else. That's, to me, where he should have said, this is up to Jonathan Gannon. Like, I thought they played all right last year, but at the end of the day, Jonathan Gannon's going to make the decision on kind of which way we're going with our defense and what he thinks are the areas of need. And that's how it should be. I always go back to Hard Knocks because you learn stuff in Hard Knocks. But you go back to the Joe Shane Giants Hard Knocks and you hear the conversations with him and his coordinators, him and his head coach, right? And you hear them talking about, hey, does you think this guy works in your system? I like this guy, but you think he works? I like that guy, but I really like this guy better. Oh, why? And you hear these conversations. And that's what you hope is happening in Green Bay. That Gannon and Goody and LaFleur are having conversations about these draft picks or about free agents, right? Where maybe Gannon had him somewhere or one of LaFleur's many friends in the league had this guy somewhere. He's got some intel on this guy and what he brings to a locker room and what he brings when he's on the field and all of this stuff. That's what you want to utilize. You don't want to go into this like Ted Thompson did, which was, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't really care what y'all think. I'm going to do what I want. That's how Ted rolled. And for a long time, it was fine because the guy was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. In this scenario, how it currently sits, it has to be a collaboration, I think, for this to work the best.
I think so. But also at the same time,
always a but.
I think that when you're bringing in a new guy into the system, as much as you want to give him creative control on all of these decisions, allow him to have a little freedom, he's also still a new guy in the system, and you have been around and you know some of these players a little bit better. So you don't want to give him all of that complete control. Again, especially since it does rely on Brian Gutekunst to figure out how to move money around to get the right players that this guy would want.
Remember, this guy was a head coach. This guy game planned to play you. So this guy
coach that got fired.
But either way, he still knows the weaknesses that they wanted to exploit from the offensive side against this defense of the areas that they like to pick on against certain players on this team. So you're right. He doesn't know the dude, but he knows the weaknesses of how they wanted to attack this defense. That does give him some upper hand. If I was Brian Gutekunst, I'd tell Jonathan Gannon, you're the head coach of the defense. He's the head coach of the offense. Rich Bisaccia is the head coach of the special teams. And here we go. That's how we're going to run with this. And then obviously Matt makes the calls in late game situations or whatever else. I wouldn't want Matt in the defensive rooms. He used to pull that crap with Joe Barry. I don't want you in the defensive rooms. You work on getting this offense figured out and let Jonathan Gannon worry about the defense and keep your nose out of it. That's how I'd want them to run. I'm sure that's not how it's going to be, but that's how I'd want it to be. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The Bucks won last night. And when the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win. So act fast and get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's. MLB insider Bob Nightengale joins us next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Ron Wolf, the former Packers Pro Football Hall of Fame general manager and proud dad of New England Patriots GM Elliott Wolf, will join Inside Wisconsin Sports tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Trevor and Josh sit down with Ron Wolf. That's going to be a fun one. Again, tomorrow morning at 8. Send a calendar reminder on your phone so you don't miss that interview tomorrow morning. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, one call that's all, is Odyssey MLB insider Bob Nightengale. Insider calls presented by Grainger. For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need delivered when and where you need them. Call and click Grainger.com or just stop by. Bob, how are we doing today, buddy?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks, Sparky.
I was surprised today when I saw an X at B. Nightengale, the article about Framber Valdez and teams that would have interest potentially in Framber Valdez. And I saw the Milwaukee Brewers listed in that conversation after seeing them trade away Freddie Peralta, to see them now potentially being involved with another starting pitcher and the potential to spend some significant money. I guess I was surprised by that, Bob.
Yeah, I kind of put it at the bottom of the list. Obviously it'd be, a wild signing, but the front office says they still want their starter to replace Peralta. Look, and the Cubs made big time improvements this year, spent a lot of money. Brewers only spent $1.25 million. So if they get creative, if his market is crash enough, or if he says, you know what, I'll take a short term deal, maybe with an opt out early, why not at least entertain it? Pittsburgh Pirates are. They got more money than the Pirates, so why not jump into that conversation?
Do you get the sense from your sources around the league or from the Brewers or whatever else that they are going to potentially make a splashy move here at some point and actually jump into the pool and spend some real money here at some point, Bob? Because people around here seem to think they're going to do something here at some point. I guess I'm losing faith that that's going to happen.
I've been told that they're definitely in the market for another starter. You got to replace your Peralta. The Cubs just got Cabrera. You can't just let them just walk away with the division. I know we say that a lot. The Cubs always look better on paper. Brewers always end up, winning the title. But Peralta's a big loss. You need 6 or 7, 8 or 9 starters. So I'm not saying it's got to be a guy like Framber Valdez, who could be expensive. But that being said, a guy like that next year the postseason, and the Brewers made some pretty good money last year in getting to the NLCS.
What about the Cubs? Could they potentially be in the market for Valdez to add to what they already have?
They could, and they're talking to Zach Gallen. So if you're talking to Gallen, you certainly got some interest in Valdez, who's the number one guy out there. So yeah, if they got something like Valdez, then I think okay, they're built to possibly up in the Dodgers. So they already had a great offseason anyway. I'd be stunned if they made that kind of financial commitment. But if you're talking about Zach Gallen, you're not talking about that much more money. You're just talking about more years.
Talking with Bob Nightengale, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Insider Calls brought to you by Grainger. For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Click Grainger.com or just stop by. I want to get your thoughts on the Brewers. I was none too happy, and everybody was mad at me for not being happy about Eugenio Suarez going to the Reds, because I think this team really needs a power bat, even more than a starter. They've got so much starting pitching depth right now. And I understand they're younger and they're not veterans per se. Like, they haven't been in the league 5 to 8 years, but they've got a lot of pitching. What they don't have is another proven power stick for the middle of this lineup. And he didn't go for that much money necessarily to the Cincinnati Reds. I hear you talking about they're looking for a starting pitcher. So are we in a scenario here for the Brewers where what you have on offense is pretty much what it was last year going into this year?
Yeah, I think they still want a starter. I think they will go with that offense. They could add another utility type guy, but I haven't heard their name involved in any guys. Suarez didn't have much of a market. When it comes down to the Reds and Pirates, you see how little the market was. The Red Sox are starving for a third baseman. Didn't even bother making an offer. So there's a lot of mixed things on Eugenio Suarez. and I don't think he fits their style of play. The swing and miss type thing. Now, if they got in a Luis Ariz who signed with the Giants, that to me would have made more sense.
Bob, you said the Cubs, if they get Valdez, all of a sudden now maybe they're in a position to upend the Dodgers at the end of the day. Does that Valdez move for the Brewers put them in the same boat or no?
Well, I think if the Brewers got Valdez, then they're clearly the team to beat. I think it kind of ruins the Cubs' winter. Like, oh my God, we made these moves, and here's the Brewers who finished 9 games ahead. Now they just got Valdez, the number 1 starter, I think, in the free agent market. I'd rather have him than Dylan Cease. Absolutely. And hey, the Brewers are, there's no reason position players won't be better a year from now. And, 1 more year experience. Yelich missed a lot of time last year. So yeah, if their pitching stays healthy and you got Valdez on top of them in the postseason, why not?
Bob, I see people all the time, especially in Pittsburgh, but in other markets as well on social media, complaining of how can Milwaukee consistently be this good every year in one of the smallest markets in baseball, and yet our team in our city can't seem to figure this out. What makes the Brewers so special that they've been able to do this now for about 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, just a smart front office, up and down the ladder. I mean, Matt Arnold does a terrific job. Davis Stearns before him. Mark Antanasio lets those guys do their thing. And yeah, it's almost like, they're the National League version of Tampa Bay Rays, where the Rays used to win the American League East or get in the playoffs year after year. And here's the Brewers. I mean, no one ever gives them a chance. I'm sure the Cubs will be the pick again, this year. But they always find a way to win. It's almost like they got a secret sauce going there. So, hey, the Brewers will be good. I saw where the over-unders were like 83 for the Brewers season. I said, wait a minute now. They won 97 games last year. Yeah, they lost Peralta. But, there's no way they should drop all the way to 83 games. I think it's still a very good team.
Is there any way that a Murphy could win Manager of the Year 3 years in a row?
No, I think now it's impossible. It's almost like I teased Dave Roberts. Dave, you'll never win the Manager of the Year award because the payroll and everything else, people expect you to win. Now it's like, people expect the Brewers to win. So, unless they won 120 games or something, I don't think there's any way Pat Murphy could do it. Same way in the American League with Stephen Vogt. Like, okay, you guys have surprised people enough. Now we expect it. It would have to go to somebody else.
Talking with Bob Nightengale, MLB Insider USA Today. Follow him on X at @BNightingale. Everybody talks about potentially this upcoming offseason, December 1st, that there's going to be some type of work stoppage, may cost yourself games and so forth in 27. How much of how teams are operating this offseason is going into the idea that they may miss games in 27?
You don't hear that, except for staff members, radio, TV. You don't hear it having an effect. I haven't heard an agent say it's affected them at all in negotiations. What we're seeing though is, MLB, these teams now losing their RSNs and going to MLB. That's the real problem. Even the St. Louis Cardinals, they're going down to $20 million a year for TV. And here's the Dodgers raking in $340 million. That's the problem. It's not, I'm not saying you have to share it equally like the NFL, but it's got to be a lot more equitable where a team like the Dodgers, can't have $300 million at their disposal on TV alone.
So it's interesting because when it was Bally Sports, the Cardinals were getting $75 million. They went to FanDuel, then they got $60 million. And now with MLB doing the TV deal, they're getting $20 million. That's a $40 million drop between the two. And I understand MLB would love to get this to kind of a deal where they control the TV rights for everybody regionally. But how exactly are you going to be able to pull that off with the big markets that have their own deals, like the Mets, like the Yankees, like the Cubs, and so forth?
Yeah, Mets too. I don't think you get everybody involved. The one thing the big market owners will tell you, and I agree with this, is like, wait a minute now. We paid Dodgers $2.4 billion for a franchise. It's worth over $5 now. the Brewers and other small market teams pay less than $200 million for it. So you shouldn't have to share the entire TV thing. But I think they like to share a much bigger part of it. And I think if they get 75% of the other teams involved to share it, I think big step forward. And that's what the players are arguing. Like, well, it's kind of a fight among yourselves. You guys figure that part out. It shouldn't really involve us.
Bob, I appreciate you coming on as always. Some positive thoughts on the Milwaukee Brewers are always welcome too. And we'll see if the Brewers do anything. I'll tell you this much. There will be a party in the state of Wisconsin if they get Fromm or Valdez, especially if the Bucks end up trading Giannis. We're going to need some good news. So that would help.
Yeah, absolutely. And, spring training starts in a week. So I'm in Phoenix right now. It's about 85 degrees. So you got to come on out.
85 degrees. Let's see what it is here in Wisconsin and Milwaukee. In Milwaukee right now, it is 27 with a real feel of 21.
Oh, warm.
And if we're being honest, that's balmy considering what it's been the last month here. It's actually warm. I mean, people might start going outside in shorts at some point here. Bob, I appreciate you, and see you down spring training.
Look forward to it.
All right, take care. There he is, Bob Nightengale on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. And of course, MLB insider Bob Nightengale for the ones who get it done. Grainger offers the professional grade products you need delivered when and where you need them. Call, click, Grainger.com, or just stop by. We have to get to Charlie Sound for the day. I want to go over some of these trades because there have been trades just one after another. I just looked up and didn't even realize another trade. Couple of trades had happened since the last time I looked up at the TV screen here in the studios. So let's talk first about the Anthony Davis deal that we were all talking about coming into this one, because it's absolutely freaking gigantic. And now you get Anthony Davis with Trae Young in DC. So that organization that had no hope for the future now all of a sudden has two legitimate superstars to build around in DC.
So that trade consists of Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum going to the Washington Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round
All those
picks.
players, other than A.J. Johnson, who might be good, aren't very good.
No. Yeah, Marvin Bagley's bounced around for a while. Chris Middleton's probably going to get bought out by Dallas in this situation. But you get 5 picks in this trade. I think that's semi-valuable. At the same time, I feel like a team like Dallas, when you tried so hard to retool that team last season to just blow it up this quickly, with Cooper Flagg playing as well as he is, I feel like that's just such a weird direction to go with this franchise. They keep roller coastering up and down with what their plan is. I don't even know why you kept the first pick last year if you were just going to blow it up as fast as you did. You should have just traded that for some other value in the future, because a lot of people were vying for that pick via trade.
Kyrie Irving is making $36.5 million this year, $39.4 million next year, then a player opt-out at 42 and 27-28. He is hurt right now, but he'll be back. I just wonder whether or not he goes too. I mean, don't you think you attempt to move him as well now at this point, if you're the Dallas Mavericks, if you truly are going to blow it up?
Well, and at this rate, every team in the league is on the trade market, apparently. I never thought going into this trade deadline that the Washington Wizards would be as active as they are. The Utah Jazz just went and traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. If they feel like that they want to start taking steps towards competitiveness, bringing in a Kyrie Irving to be a part of that front court would be pretty interesting with him and Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. You could make something work there. You have options. I'm sure there will be teams interested.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing, man. Like, as bad as the DC Wizards were, all of a sudden in one season making 2 large trades, all of a sudden now they're a team to deal with in the East because they have 2 superstar players. If AD can stay healthy.
And it might not work, but at least they're trying. Like, it's cool to see that they're
fan, you're elated.
Just changing it up.
Yes.
Like, why the hell not? Again, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, whatever. But at least you're trying something. It's better than just sitting at the bottom of the league for the past 5 years like you have.
Correct. All right. What else do we got?
So one of the other trades that happened right after that, the Philadelphia 76ers are trading guard Jared McCain to the Oklahoma City Thunder for the 2026 Rockets first-round pick and 3 other second-round picks in that situation. Weird trade by Philadelphia. I was talking about it with Mitch Thunder Nellis during a break in the Mason Crosby show earlier today. And he was saying it's just crazy that Oklahoma City is able to go and grab players like this for anything. But the thing is, they still have 24 other picks outside of the 5 that they just traded, or the 4 that they just traded. they can keep doing this for as long as they want and keep just shuffling players around. Shea also did just go out on their injury report with a abdominal injury, and that's part of the reason they made this trade as well.
I'm not a huge McCain fan. My 19-year-old loves him. Loved him coming out of college. Loves him to death. That's his dude. So when he got traded, I sent it to him. I said, "Oh, here you go." Again, how much will he play with the Thunder when everybody is healthy? Don't know, but he fits that role of being that young, athletic type dude that fits into what they want in Oklahoma City.
And is a good shooter. I think that's the other thing that they love to have around there. Defensively, he's going to be a work in progress. He's a little bit of a smaller player, but at the same time, I think he's a guy who can come in there, give you good buckets off the bench, and as a young player in his second year in the league, there's still a lot of room to grow with him.
What else you got?
As we move on later in the day, the Chicago Bulls are still very active as well. They moved on from Kobe White and Mike Conley and traded those two guys to the Charlotte Hornets for Colin Sexton, Ousmane Dieng, and 3 second-round picks. A lot of 3 second-round picks here.
People don't care about them in this league, man.
Yeah, it's interesting that these teams are even willing to bring them back in, especially the way that the Thunder move on from them that easily.
Correct. And now again, Kobe White, that's a great move. Chris Paul is a great move.
Yeah, Chris Paul is an okay move. Again, I don't think the Toronto Raptors are going to keep him around for this team. I think they're still trying to move and make room, shuffle other players around a bigger or smaller contract like Chris Paul that you can move around from in order to get other stars to come in. I wouldn't be surprised if I heard the Toronto Raptors name get brought up a couple more times before the trade deadline.
Probably right about that. And Kobe White, I mean, you're a Bulls fan.
Yeah, Kobe White is all right. He has his higher highs when he is playing at his peak. I think he is an all-star caliber guard in this league. Problem is the Bulls just stacked up on 18 random guards. Yep. They don't want to pay Kobe White. That was kind of the big discussion this offseason, whether or not to trade him, because they just weren't going to pay him at all, especially with all the other young players that they need to get contracts to. I think for Charlotte, a move like this where you bring in a Kobe White, where you bring in a Mike Conley, whether or not Mike Conley stays is a different question, but it also kind of tells me they may be willing to shop a LaMelo Ball before the deadline here if they feel like there's a tension there.
Just need some vets, man. Just need some vets to go with all these young kids on that team. That's what they're looking for. All right, what else you got?
That is the latest move outside of the Chris Paul one that we mentioned before. That is the Los Angeles Clippers, Brooklyn Nets, and Toronto Raptors agreeing on a multi-team trade, sending Chris Paul to the Raptors and Ochai Agbaji and the 2032 Raptors second rounder and cash to the Brooklyn Nets. There's not word on what the Clippers are getting back in this. I suggested earlier that it's probably just getting rid of Chris Paul at this point.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably correct as well. So there you go. That is the latest, at least as of what we have right now coming out of the NBA. Trade deadline, again, is coming up tomorrow. At 2 o'clock. And then we'll have a better idea of whether or not Giannis is here for the long term or not. Coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie using the other side of the glass. Not a better place to go watch the game coming up on Sunday. Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. Go online, reserve your seats ahead of time, buy tickets to go hang out in the Annex. Watch the game there as well at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. 2,000 square foot screen, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen is amazing. 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. Homemade desserts and pastries made on premise every day to take advantage of all kinds of great food options, wraps, salads, burgers, wings, all day brunch. Now, there is a nominal fee to reserve your seat ahead of time for the game coming up on Sunday, so make sure to go ahead and do that. Also, can buy tickets to the Yingling party that they have going on for the game on Sunday as well. Get tickets and get all this other cool stuff that goes along with it. Go to Potawatomi.com to do that today.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, let's get to it. Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Top 3 clips that he picks from around the world of sports. More times than not. Charlie, what do we got?
First up here, we are going to head on over to foul territory
on the
FanDuel Sports Network, where the Brewers and a lot of other teams have just left the FanDuel Sports Network. This is Athletic senior writer Evan Relic on why the MLB wants the media rights for these small market teams and what they plan on doing with them.
The dream is to make as much money as possible. That is what they are trying to do at every step of the way, and they'll talk about balancing it with reach. You know, you sometimes you could sign up with a service that will pay you more, but maybe gets to fewer fans, and there is some sort of balancing act there. But the bottom line is the bottom line. What Rob wants is to be able to sell a large amount, or ideally all, of the local rights to potentially a streaming company in bidding war, or multiple streaming companies. You know, if you can say to ESPN or Peacock, whatever, come 2028, hey, besides the Sunday game of the week, you could also be the local home to 20 markets, 25 markets. There could be a lot of money attached to that, and there could be more money, the thinking is, than would be available with every team partnering on its own with an individual RSN. So what Rob wants is to control local rights through his office. And then the big question becomes, okay, if he gets that control, how is the money divided up? What happens to revenue sharing? Because the big market teams obviously have more valuable rights than the little market teams. And this is where collective bargaining with the players is going to be really interesting, because the players have an input on this. So if MLB wants to change what it does with local media rights, and it does, it's got to go through the union in regards to revenue sharing.
I don't like where this is going, if we're being honest. I don't. When we had Bob Nightengale on in the last segment, and I read those Cardinal numbers, you go from 75 million to 20 million, from 60 million last year to 20 million, $40 million drop. I mean, that is huge. And I know Rick Schlesinger just came out and said, I don't think it's going to affect our payroll. Well, maybe it doesn't affect payroll, but it's got to affect something. Now, I don't know what the Brewers' previous deal was. Maybe their previous deal was $40 million, and now it's going to be $20 million. I don't know. Maybe it's significantly less than what the Cardinals were getting anyhow, so maybe it's not as big of a drop as like what the Cardinals are going to see on this deal with the MLB. But to what was brought up, how then are you going to split this based on market size? Because guess what? Milwaukee's the lowest one. That means they're going to get the least amount of money out of everybody if they split it up based on market size. So you take a pie and you cut it up and like, okay, largest market, you get the biggest piece of the revenue sharing, and then they go into smaller pieces all the way around. Brewers are screwed if that's how we do this.
This is going to be a really, really strange, again, kind of Wild West, like we're seeing across the NCAA. The MLB is kind of getting into territories right now where there's a lot of big questions that are going to change the sport, change the way that people are viewing the sport, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
I have something.
Yeah, what's up?
What if the Brewers got in bed with Marquee Sports Network?
They could. Be interesting.
Because you have the Marquee Sports Network that is available in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
You have the FanDuel Sports Network or Fox Sports Wisconsin, and you have those secondary channels, right? So like on satellite, it's 669 or 669-2 or -1. So when you have Brewers and Bucks conflicts, one is on one is on the other. So essentially, couldn't you then make a marquee network -2 or whatever the case may be and have that opportunity for games to be on both and essentially get into business with the Cubs and the marquee network and try and figure out something that way? They already have it all established. Yes, you would have to pay for the crew to come in and shoot and all that. I get that. But from a sales perspective and the infrastructure being built, you don't have to build any of that. They're still doing the heavy lifting. You just want your local spot inventory. They sell the rest of it. They could have a Milwaukee office for marquee and go down that road. Now, I know that's sacrilegious, Sparky. You want to get into business with somebody in Chicago. Yeah, I know. I understand. But you literally have to be open to all ideas at this point if you're the Brewers of how you can make the most money possible.
Yeah. I think the other thing, though, that Evan Drellick talked about with the crew over there at Foul Territory is the fact that a lot of these teams that do already have their own system set up, like the Cubs with Marquee Sports Network, are just not doing that good either. That the MLB is preying on a lot of these teams to get them out of those small kind of setups because they know these teams only have a few years left before they are forced out of that.
All right, Charlie, what's next?
Next up, we're going to hear from C.D. Lamb, star wide receiver of the Dallas Cowboys. He was on Up and Adams, and he was discussing all the players at the Pro Bowl that were trying to steal away George Pickens, who is still waiting on a contract extension from the Dallas Cowboys away from Dallas.
Because everybody in my face is trying to recruit him while I'm standing right next to him as if I'm not.
At the Pro Bowl?
Yes.
Tell me who. I want to know who.
For one.
Micah?
Micah. He's trying
Micah,
to
get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Scooter.
I don't know what's going on with him. He's a little too active to be on a scooter, and that's the only team that I'll stay with right now. But it's a couple people that I feel like is definitely trying to get my mans away from me.
Yeah, I don't trust George Pickens, if we're being honest. Like, I saw the rigmarole that happened there in Pittsburgh. I don't know if I trust him coming here.
He was pretty awesome in Dallas this past year, though.
He was awesome in Dallas, right? And I'm not mad at Micah Parsons for trying to recruit George Pickens. I don't know if you're happy if you're Christian Watson necessarily but I mean, again, if it's Watson and Pickens at wide receiver with Golden or Reed as your top four, you feel pretty good about that. Would you rather have Pickens or Dobbs?
I'd rather have Pickens. Yeah. Especially after that season last year. I know Dobbs is this guy that Jordan Love can always go back and rely on. But at the same time, George Pickens proved that he's taking steps each year. Hopefully he can take another step in Green Bay.
More than likely, you're not paying both of them. I don't think you're the Bengals where you pay both star wide receivers. I think you're going to have to pick one or the other. And then you have to figure out which one is the more talented between Pickens and Watson of who you want to pick. All right, third cut.
And last up here, we're going to head over to the Pitching Ninja podcast, where Jeff Francoeur, former MLB player, was discussing a hilarious Greg Maddux story that I had never heard before. I want to know if Sparky had heard it.
So this is one of my favorite Maddux. He'll deny it. I was 19 years old in big league camp. It was part of my contract. My agent did a good job getting me invited to big league camp. So I'm out in center field. And I'd always heard that Maddux didn't sign for a lot of people, or he would, and he was like, "Hey, Rook, let's go sign some balls." So I'm like, okay. So, I follow him over there and we start signing, but all I see is I'm like number 31. And I'm like, that doesn't say Maddux. He signed like 20 balls Jeffrey Dahmer and was signing it for all these. Now the kids, I give Maddux credit. To all the kids, he would put Greg Maddux, but the old guys that he thought were going to, sell the balls, he was writing Jeffrey Dahmer, number 31.
I would totally buy one of those. I'm in. You have one of those, I want one of those.
That'd be awesome, right?
Yeah. I want one. I think those are more valuable than him signing Greg Maddux, probably. Like, if you have somebody taking the picture of him signing that ball and him signing a Jeffrey Dahmer, I think those might be more valuable than the actual Maddux balls.
That's like the one-of-one cards that people are always looking for when they're breaking sports card boxes that have like a personal inscription on it and stuff, where the guy just wrote something a little different. That'd be awesome. I'd love a Greg Maddux Jeffrey Dahmer ball.
Can you imagine? I mean, first of all, you're probably mad at that point if you're the older person trying to get it.
In the moment, yeah.
Right, in the moment. Because, I mean, again, think about it from this standpoint, right? You're telling me a grown-up Tommy Wirtz right, has an opportunity to get his man crush, whoever it is, 20 years from now, autograph. He ain't trying to sell it. He's just crushing on this dude, thinks he's awesome, and then he screws you and doesn't put his name on it.
Yeah, but
would you be mad?
No, because in today's day and age of eBay and selling all this different stuff, you can just make anything a one-to-one in your mind. So you just say, oh, it's just a personalized gift from my favorite player, even though he didn't mean it that way.
Only you could spin that. Coming up next, Green and Gold Update, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Straight ahead, we will dive more into these comments made by Brian Gutekunst. If you thought he was nuts earlier in this hour when he talked about corners, wait till you hear his comments about special teams and Rich Bisaccia and Mr. McManus. That's all I had. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Charlie using over there. Ron Wolf, former Packers Pro Football Hall of Fame general manager, proud dad of New England Patriots GM Elliott Wolf. He'll join Inside Wisconsin Sports tomorrow morning with Trevor and Josh at 8 a.m. here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Again, Ron Wolf tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Now I just hope and pray and cross my fingers that some Giannis trade news doesn't break at 7:58, right?
Brian Windhorst and Shams Charania are saying within the next 8 hours, they're expecting some kind of report on something, whether he's staying, whether he's going.
Next how long?
8 hours. That's what they said.
At midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't they take this till 2 o'clock tomorrow? Why is it 8 hours?
It's
the most random damn thing
Brian
in the world.
Windhorst and Shams Charania saying it, so they probably will just keep pushing it back an hour every time.
What did Giannis tell him? I'm not getting traded on Thursday. It has to be on Wednesday. Otherwise, I don't want to be traded.
Once the clock strikes midnight.
It's bad luck to trade me on Thursday, but it's good luck if you trade me on Wednesday. What are we doing? The deadline is at 2 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. You have until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I mean, it's cool. At 12:01, I better see a tweet from Charania going, guess he's not being traded. And I better not hear he's traded then tomorrow after Charania claims he's not now being traded. And, oh, by the way, for those of you that can't stand Shams Charania, isn't it funny the biggest trade of the whole time was broken by Adam Schefter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anthony
I was
Davis
talking about this Tommy before, too. He broke a hockey trade earlier today, too, on Twitter.
He did.
He's on all the sports right now.
You know what he's trying to do.
What's that?
He's trying to be him for all.
That'd be pretty cool.
Right?
See if he can do it. Why not?
We're going to give you another $5 million a year, and you're going to do the NBA and the NFL.
Yeah, see what happens. NHL, too.
Shams, you're out. We're giving the gig to the NFL guy who does it better.
Jeff Passan, count your days. So that's what he'd be saying. MLB, he's coming.
He hasn't broken any MLB things, I don't think.
Not that I know of. I'm going to go back and see now.
No, but he's definitely broken several NBA trades over the last few years for certain. And you know how that goes, right? You have the connections to the agents or whoever the case may be, and it's kind of how it goes. All right, it's 4 o'clock, a little after 4 o'clock, so let's go.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Okay, before I get to the ridiculous part of this Gutekunst press conference, he did say something that I think every Packer fan would agree with earlier today. He spoke to me at around 12:30, 1 o'clock earlier today, talking about what they've got to work on, the focus of what they've got to work on for next season.
Again, I was proud of our team in a lot of areas this year, but finishing games is certainly something that we got to, concentrate on as we head into the 2026, and that was one where I thought certainly we played very, very well in the first half and had a lot of things in front of us. And when you get in situations like that, you expect to win the game.
So there is Gutekunst talking about they have to focus on finishing games better this year compared to what they did last year. And I think that was the obvious one, and that was the one that he got right, which is great. And I'm very happy about that. How about this? How about all these questions on the special teams and on Rich Bisaccia and all this other stuff that goes along with it. So let's see. Let's talk about the kicker position, shall we? Brandon McManus, who is a guy I said yesterday, hey man, I'm good with McManus. We don't need to make a change there. They tried to make a change before. They screwed it all up multiple times. So there's no need. Carlson, Arvidsson, we're good. He's a proven vet. He can do the job. He was hurt. That's why he was missing kicks. It will be fine with Brandon McManus. This is what Goody said.
You know me, I want competition at all these spots, no matter what. If we can have enough spots on the roster. Again, like I mentioned before, he made 32 straight kicks up until that game, right? He worked through an injury thing early in the year, which I commend him for fighting through, because it was a little bit more than probably he let on. And once he got through it, he was really, really good until that final game. So
stop. take a pause. It was a little bit more serious than he let on. Goody, do you mean it was more serious than what he led on to us in the media? Or do you mean it was more serious than to what he led on to you as an organization and to the training staff?
Well,
that would be my question.
And if he says it's more or less serious, he was the one who was talking directly to the media about how serious or not serious his injury was. He was doing that. He got mad at Matt LaFleur for doing it for him. Or not talking to him at all in general. One or the other.
Don't
he got
talk
mad
to
about
kickers,
it.
remember?
Right.
Yep.
This is Brandon McManus is just causing more issues, I guess, for if people have to ask about that and they have to bring this up in your press conference here, that's a problem. Kickers are supposed to kind of be like the offensive linemen. You don't want to hear from them. You want them to do their jobs.
If they're doing well, nobody's talking about you.
Exactly.
Yes.
If you're doing well, nobody talks about you.
Unless it's noon to 2 weekdays with Mason Crosby show. Then we got to hear from
everybody
Mason.
Wants to hear
then we got to hear from Mason on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Him and Thunder and Tommy Wirtz. All right, here we go.
He's a pro's pro. The one thing that I've always felt good about is he knows how to kick in weather. So certainly we didn't see that game in Chicago, for him not to perform like he normally does. But yeah, we'll have competition at that spot, but not because of anything that happened this past year. I think we always need to have competition at that spot.
I mean, let you in on a little something. He does not, under any circumstance, want to deal with trying to find another damn kicker. He does not want to go through it again. He wants it done. Yes. Is he going to bring Haversack in or whoever else he wants to bring in? Sure. Yes. Competition. Somebody's going to go to the practice squad. Maybe somebody will trade for our other kicker that's doing really well against McManus. Yes. He's not messing around with this. Unless McManus gets the yips or something and can hit a field goal in training camp, there's no way he wants to deal with trying to fill this position. You want to know why? Because he knows how much of a struggle it was the last time he tried to fill the position.
Well, and I get kind of like the cornerback question that we heard earlier and answer that we heard earlier. You don't have to be nice to these guys all the time. I get it that you want to protect yourself just in case you can't move on from them if the time comes that you feel like you need to. But also, no, you're not having a competition at every position. Jordan Love isn't having a QB competition with whoever is the backup quarterback next season going into the offseason. If Josh Jacobs is still on this team, he's going to be the starting running back of this team. You better believe it. Micah Parsons isn't having a competition. No, certain positions are going to have specific competitions, and to say, yeah, I just want it everywhere, that's the reason we're doing it, it's just a lie. It's a white lie, but it's a lie.
So Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy C. Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie using with you. It's Green and Gold Update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Brian Gutekunst, Packers GM, talked earlier today to the media. I believe this will be the last time he talks to the draft. I take that back. He'll talk at the Combine at the end of February, early March. So yes, he'll talk there too. Here is Brian Gutekunst talking about why he has faith in Rich Bisaccia as special teams coordinator. Yes, I can't do it without a smile.
What Rich brings to this our culture, this football team, is just it's really, he's a very impactful coach around here. Certainly, I thought we've been better on teams the last few years than we've been in a long time. Our cover units have been better. We got one of the best punters in the National Football League. We've got an excellent snapper. Brandon was excellent last year. This year, again, he worked through some things injury wise and then had a bad playoff game. That was kind of how that ended. But now I got a lot of faith in Rich and his staff, what they do around here. Not only the X's and O's and what they bring to the field, but what they bring to this place culturally is really important.
More Goody on Rich Bisaccia and what he brings to the culture.
What Rich brings to this our culture, this football team, is just it's really, he's a very impactful coach around here. Certainly, I thought we've been better on teams the last.
Oh, this is the same cut. They labeled it differently. Whoever cut this,
I only cut it once.
This is the thing. When we start talking about culture, we talk about leaders on a football team. They help to set culture, right? Charles Woodson helps to set culture. Reggie White helps to set culture. Brett Favre, culture. Leroy Butler, culture. Those are the people that you lean to. And yeah, I'm talking about Hall of Famers for the most part, right? Then you could talk about different head coaches. Belichick, culture. Parcells, culture. Andy Reid, culture. Mike Tomlin, 1,000% culture. It doesn't appear necessarily that they have a lot of those dudes on this football team right now. Now, I think Micah Parsons might be a guy that potentially could set culture. Maybe. Maybe he's that guy. Jordan Love potentially could be maybe that guy. But this goes back to when we talk about Giannis and what Doc Rivers wanted to accomplish, which was getting Giannis to be more vocal and more in the middle of things and more involved vocally with this team and being more of a vocal leader. So if you don't have those guys, and if your head coach isn't as much that guy, then you've got to rely on others who potentially can be that guy. And the thing that everybody loved about Bisaccia coming from the Raiders was what? He was a leader of men. He got those guys to believe in him as an interim head coach. Nobody is probably more of a leader than men, maybe on that Packers coaching staff, than Rich Bisaccia at this point, and how he handles all of those elements. And that is why he is the associate head coach to go along with that. So when everybody gets mad about special teams this and you can't return anything, and to Gutekunst's point, he never brought up anything having to do with return. All he talked about was coverage units. That's all he really cared about. And the punter being great. Is that Bisaccia? I don't know. And then obviously McManus, the kicker. But the more you listen to him, the more you realize it's more about his impact on the dudes on the team in general, maybe than everything else.
How many times can we hear that before it just isn't important? I think at this point with Rich Bisaccia, though, we've known this since he was on the Raiders. You brought it up since before that this is what he does. He is a guy who helps build the culture, but that culture currently is not leading the Super Bowls. And in fact, it's actually leading to you losing games instead at this point. I think what he is doing negatively on the field with the players or whatever is happening with his unit is hurting the team more than the culture side of things that he's bringing to this. And that has to outweigh the culture at some point.
One more clip here from Brian Gutekunst. And he was asked, and rightfully so, whether or not there needs to be more emphasis put on getting guys that are special teams dudes, right? Focusing maybe more on the draft or free agency or whatever to really focus more on helping special teams.
I really think over the last 4 or 5 years, we've probably put more emphasis on than we ever have. I mean, certainly when I was working for Ted, which was always funny because Ted was a special teams guy, but we were never really going to have a player that was strictly a special teams guy. He had to play a position and have a major kind of role or a developmental role as a position player on offense or defense. I think when Rich got here, the way I think about him and the faith that I have in him, there was a lot of discussions, and we certainly have added a lot of those kind of guys that are just more special teams oriented players, and we improved. We've gotten a lot better. So, I have a lot of faith in Rich and what we're doing there. I think that last game, obviously, we missed some kicks. Brandon had made 32 straight going into that game, so we certainly didn't see that coming. But we got to be better in those situations.
Can we just? I want to put something to bed. Him missing kicks is not on Bisaccia. Like that is not on the guy. Like if he makes those kicks, do we pat Bisaccia on the butt and go, boy, you coached him up well there to drill those kicks? No, not at all.
You don't talk about it.
No, you don't talk about it.
Before.
You're right, but if he misses the kicks, it's on the dude kicking the ball. If you want to make a change at kicker, then by all means go ahead. Now, if the process to go to kick the ball is screwed up, that's on Bisaccia, right? If it's between the holder and the snapper and that exchange isn't right, or the holder isn't swirling or moving the ball around for laces out and all that other stuff, if all of that isn't a thing and they screw that up, okay, then that's on Bisaccia. Like, come on, man. We should be coached up on this. We shouldn't be having these type of issues still when we're in a playoff game. But it didn't appear any of that was an issue. It appears that they were just physical mistakes by the kicker. The process was right.
Well, and I think that becomes clearly evident when you're playing against another team that also has a veteran kicker that's playing in the same conditions as you and Cairo Santos for the Chicago Bears and is nailing all the kicks that they give him the opportunity to do when the Bears do give him the opportunity to kick the ball. So I think when you have somebody else on the other sideline that's supposed to be, or that is doing what you're supposed to be doing yourself as a veteran kicker who's been in these situations, who's been in these high pressure moments with bad weather, and you are looking like a rookie, that is a problem that goes beyond the coach that's coaching. Yes, we have problems with Bisaccia, but that's not the biggest problem. When you're missing kicks, that's on the kicker.
Absolutely right. 1,000%. That's on the kicker. I'm not going to blame Bisaccia because he misses a kick here and there in this whole deal at the end of the day. Let's talk about our fine friends over there at Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, it also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close out the season the right way with Prize Picks. And all you got to do is use the code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. So download the Prize Picks app, use code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Again, folks, if you've never done this, it's daily fantasy. It's more or less on player stat projections thrown out there to you by Prize Picks. And they also have max discount players. So right now they have a max discount on Drake May for this game of more than a half a yard. I already got in on that. I have a 3-player lineup that we talked about yesterday. Take advantage. They're essentially giving you one. So now take advantage of that and then find at least one more. It has to have 2 or more player stat projections in your lineup. Plus, they also have a pretty cool community going on with Prize Picks too. The new social feeds feature, you could share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single copy lineup you like, or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. And of course, don't forget Prize Picks now has early payouts. Your player gets off to a hot start, and you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Again, if you play $5 lineups, you do take advantage of this promotion going on right now. You can essentially play 11 lineups for $5 if you're going $5 a piece. Do it. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Don't forget, Hot Stove Weekly comes up tonight from 5 to 7. The franchise, Tim Allen, the big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz is going to be here too. The man crush of all man crushes. It's going to play out in real time on the radio. If you want to see Tommy's face turn red on X and YouTube the first time he talks to Jake Bowers at 5:30, tune in, WI Sports Radio. And then at 6:30, it was supposed to be Andrew Vaughn. That has now been changed to Logan Henderson, Brewers pitcher Logan Henderson at 6:30. So 5:30, Jake Bowers, 6:30 is going to be Logan Henderson, and looking forward to that. Up next, Jim Owczarski had the exclusive interview with Giannis before the game last night from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, Bucks beat writer. He'll join us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Sparky with you, along with our guy, Charlie Usen, awaiting the arrival of one Jim Owczarski, Bucks beat writer, for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And hey, they won last night. Yeah, I'm not too happy about it either. But I am happy I get a free Frosty at Wendy's. When the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate Frosty Classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast. Get that free small Frosty Classic at Wendy's. We really are at that point now where wins are not a positive for this Milwaukee Bucks team. They just, that's not something we want. We want them to lose as many as possible to give the Bucks / Pelicans, because of this pick swap with the Hawks, as good of an opportunity to get a top 5 pick as possible. Them winning all these games, and God forbid if they make a play-in tournament. Oh my God, let's hope that does not happen. Then you're completely out of the lottery, and then you're really screwed. And yes, the Giannis's of the world can potentially happen, right? Where Giannis was 15, so it was one pick outside of the lottery when they got Giannis. But that was a gigantic project, that worked out because of the dude's drive to be great. Because Jason Kidd was his head coach and introduced him to greatness and put him in unbelievable situations to help grow himself. Y'all can not like the X's and O's, all the other stuff. Or, oh, he was too mean to them. He yelled at them too much. He hurt their feelings. To this day, I still just shake my head when I hear, oh, he yelled at him too much. He was too rough on him, man. They're grown men, man. Come on, man. This isn't like your 5th grade basketball team getting drilled and yelled at by a parent coach. They're grown men. If you can't handle getting yelled at on a team at this point, something completely wrong with that scenario anyhow. But either way, so that worked out, yes. But to think that you're going to be able to get that lucky again, just outside the lottery, probably not all that likely to happen again. That's why in this loaded draft, especially at the top, providing everybody comes out that is expected to come out, you're going to have yourself in a really, really good situation here to get a potential star player. If you can get up to that top 3 to top 5 pick, that's where you want to be. I mean, if you can't get to top 3 or top 5, then it's and the odds go down significantly of getting that star player. Joining us now on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law, one call, that is all. He was the man of the night last night, getting the exclusive interview with Giannis before the game. He joins us now on the guest hotline, like I said. Also see him on X and on YouTube. I'm sorry we are not live streaming to Blue Sky yet, where Owczarski lives at Jim Owczarski, but I'm working on it, Jim. I'll see if I can figure this out for you so you can watch all of our live streams as well. Congratulations. Nicely done getting that interview last night.
Oh, I appreciate it, Sparky. You're only as good as the subject. So Giannis obviously gave me the time and kind of poured his heart out a little bit. I appreciate it.
So, I mean, if they trade Giannis, are you going to lobby to cover something else? Like, hey, let me cover the Packers again. I covered the Packers before. I could cover the Packers again. Because I'm sorry, the climb out of this is going to be torturous for the next couple of years, more than likely.
Sparky, you and I have debated Bucks basketball for, I don't know, almost 15 years at this point, and I don't think we've ever really agreed. I'll still disagree with you to a little bit, and this is why, just quickly for fans to know, first of all, I don't think it makes any basketball sense, whether you want to rebuild or not, to trade Giannis now.
Hold on. Stop. 1 second. I'd like to interfere in your statement. This would be the reason why you trade him now. I understand there's more teams involved in the summer. There's more draft picks involved. It can become a bidding war. I get all of that. But that's been brought up to me by many listeners, namely Trell on the north side of Milwaukee, who brings it up all the time, which is, okay, say you don't trade him now. Say you wait to the summer. Cool. You're dealing with a guy that's had multiple calf strains. We know these lead to Achilles injuries. And if he blows that Achilles between now and the end of the season, you are completely screwed.
Sure. I guess I just don't believe that'll happen, because I think when he plays for the Bucks at the end of this year, Sparky, it'll be either at the 6 weeks or well after, and it won't be in a situation that I think puts that at risk. In the story, actually, he talks about kind of coming back too soon
Yep.
from the adductor, coming back too soon from the first calf. There was nothing that he talked about with me that indicated he's coming back anytime soon this time, that it's just not. So let's just put that aside. Where I do think where I disagree with you, Sparky, is let's just assume right now ownership is still in line with Giannis, which he doesn't know that they are, which is why we're talking about this. But let's say that we get to the summer. The Bucks haven't had cap space or the $15 million plus exemption they're going to have since the 2020 season. So we're talking 6 years ago. We're talking 3 first-round draft picks potentially they could trade. But and look, the market's different now, Sparky. Like, I understand role players are being traded for a lot of picks, but you can get a little bit more bang for your buck, I think, in the current marketplace in the summer. And you mentioned a lottery pick. I think VJ Edgecombe's performance, and I think Con Knippel's performance, maybe Dylan Harper to a degree, show you that if one of those top 4 or 5 guys are truly that's a type of player that's appealing to Giannis, a high-level, high-end talent who can still help you win, even if he's 19 years old.
Don't do this. You don't do this. Don't
saying,
get people. No, I know what you're doing. You're going to get everybody's hopes up of, hey, man, we wait till the summer, we trade a couple draft picks, we get a guy, we draft a guy, and Giannis signs the extension and he stays. Man, I hope. I cannot let myself get to there because I'm going to be crushed anyhow when this goes down, if this goes down. But now you're trying to get my hopes up of maybe they could convince him to stay. Sure. Maybe they can do enough to convince him to stay at the end of the day. And yes, I get it. Mid-level exception, Kuzma on an expiring contract, 3 1s. Like, all of this stuff puts you in that position to potentially do that at the end of the day. But and this whole deal about Milwaukee. Oh, I love Milwaukee. I buried my dad here. I got married here. All my kids are born here. The passport story. It says Milwaukee, Wisconsin on it. All of this, right? Now, you tell me. Do you believe, as he said last year, about this whole idea, this analogy that he used, which really did not make me all that happy. But hey, look, if I take my wedding ring off, hey, I can hang out. Hey, don't we feel like he's been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years? One eye in Milwaukee, one eye looking to see what the other pretty girl looks like. And maybe there's something better out there for me. I mean, we've been dealing with this now for the last several years, whether it's his agents pushing it or whatever, but it feels like that's where we've been.
Yeah. And I do think he didn't say this directly in the piece. I think he tried to be a little more forceful and serious, honestly. Like, those are sort of the Giannis jokes of trying to deflect a little bit, right? This was very straightforward. I don't want to say stern, but it was emotional, Sparky, with trying to not do the in and out thing. Like if there's a basketball decision to be made, he wants it to be made very clear that the Bucks no longer want to try to win titles. And I think that was as clear. Now, he has said that. I mean, going back to the Malcolm Brogdon sign and trade, Sparky, right? Like, if the Bucks want to rebuild or don't want to go all the way, then I don't want to be here. He's been pretty consistent. I think he tried to truly separate the city, the fans, and that part versus does the team still align with me? And I think, and he said this, he's like, I don't know that. And unfortunately, John Horst, Bucks ownership, they do not talk. They don't let us know. Are they still in on high-level winning? Because, Sparky, honestly, look, I can tell you that there's a pathway, but if he's traded tomorrow or in May, and the message is, we're done, we are going to rebuild and reboot with all these picks, then that doesn't align with Giannis, and they should trade him. You know what I mean? So I think this was different in that, Sparky. It was him trying to really say, here's the emotional part of Milwaukee, and then here's this basketball thing. And I think he really tried to seriously separate that and really not joke around with it or deflect it or do a 1 in, 1 out type of thing. That was just how I felt it as he was saying it.
At what point, Jim Owczarski of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, have the Bucks given any indication to Giannis in the last, I don't know, 7, 8 years that they're not interested in winning. At what point did John Horst and the Bucks tell Giannis, yeah, we're not really trying to compete for a championship? I mean, the man, and not just him, it's a team decision, as I like to say, whether it's Fag and him and Edens or whatever it is now since Jimmy Haslam came in. But they've done everything bent over backwards trying to compete year in and year out, year in and year out. As I stated before, and I'll state it again, to me, it's just completely disrespectful to everything that they've tried to do for him. And yes, you're having a bad year. And yes, you've been hurt multiple times this year. And yes, we built this thing around you with a bunch of role players and shooters and everything else. And yes, this ended up being a gap year, which I know you didn't want. But in order to keep you happy, we had to stretch Lillard and try and figure out somebody else to bring in here because you didn't want to wait it out to put ourselves in a better position. Like, this mess was created because of him.
No, and I would agree with that. And I honestly, he didn't deny that when I brought that up to him. I'm like, all right, well, this year's bad, but what about the recent past indicates anything different?
Correct.
And his response was, I'm here. Like, I've signed he didn't say this part, but he's like, he signed 3 contract extensions, right? So he has applied the pressure. They have responded. He has been in. If they're in, he's in. He's literally done it. Obviously, the famous one is Dame, right? Media day, he says, I don't care about money unless it's a lot of blinking money. And then I'm not signing it. And 2 weeks later, he does. So what I guess the difference is, Sparky, is this season's going poorly. He wants some assurances or some different assurances or what can we do? And maybe he can't get that answer right now, so he's a little frustrated. But you're right, though. This look of all Wisconsin sports ownership, Sparky, the Bucks under the Edens, Lasry / Haslam are they've pretty much done everything a player or fan could want. So now it's going forward because, as a lot of people say, what have you done for me lately?
Should I have any faith that this organization is going to run correctly with Jimmy Haslam as part owner?
All I can say, Sparky, is Jimmy Haslam has no final say in basketball.
Well, right now, because Wesley Edens is the governor, but that rotates every 5 years, correct?
Yeah. So you're asking me to answer a question about 2029.
I know the history of him as an owner. Look,
Sure.
You've had 2 winning seasons running a professional football team. The guy that got you both of those winning seasons, you fired. With all due respect, as a Bucks fan who went through Senator Herb Cole and everything that we went through with him, and now you bring in this owner that has a history of losing, and then as a fan, you get here, and a couple years later, now the best player on this team is talking about potentially leaving and going in a trade. It doesn't feel like this has gone the right way since he got here, if we're being honest.
So again, he has no final say in basketball. So Wes Edens, the Buck stops at Wes.
Where is Wes? Where is Wes? Where is John Horst? These guys have all been missing in action all season.
That's a great question. Our Lori Nickel wrote about it. They don't have to talk, so they don't.
Correct.
Now to Jimmy, all I could say about Jimmy is, yes, the Browns are the Browns. His soccer team wins championships.
Columbus, yeah.
Yeah. And while we definitely know the results of the Browns, what we do also know is Jimmy will spend all the money to hire coaches, GMs, players. Miles Garrett, I want to trade. Here's the most money of all time. Like, I don't know what he would be like running the Bucks in 2029. What I do know is they traded for Dame months after he showed up, and they paid another huge tax bill. Mark Lasry sold for a reason, Sparky. And then here comes Big Bang, and Big Bang paid that bill, right? So over the next 2 years. So I can't speak to 29. All I can just tell you and fans, Wes Edens is the final say in basketball.
Okay, Jim, let's go back to Mark Lasry for a second, right? And I understand the luxury tax and second apron, all this other stuff. But Lasry made this comment on the way out of thunderstorms are coming. And at that point, I think Lasry thought that the time for Giannis staying in Milwaukee was probably getting closer to coming into an end. And that's what the whole thunderstorms are coming. and he was getting out ahead of time. And then they were able to keep him here, longer than maybe what Lazary even thought it was going to be. That goes back to what we started with this whole time. Like, this has been going on for so long, man. Like, goodness gracious. I hope you're right. I hope they can convince this dude, hey, man, we're going to get this top 5 player. Then we're going to trade 2 or 3 of our first round picks and get another player. And then you're going to be happy. You'll sign the max extension. Everybody's happy. We throw a party and life moves on in Wisconsin. I hope you're right. Golly, man, I hope you're right. I'm going to go to church and pray that Jim Owczarski is right on this path that he has chosen for the Milwaukee Bucks. And Giannis, I hope you're right. Follow him on Blue Sky, Jim Owczarski. Great work. Must read. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Go read that interview that Jim Owczarski had with Giannis. I appreciate you so much, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sparky. Always love it.
Always good. Take care. There he is, Jim Owczarski. You know what I like about Jim Owczarski? Joining us on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all.
What's that?
I mean, you come on this show. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get along and agree. But the guys that understand that we're not going to agree, that still come on knowing that I may yell at them and they may not be
every
happy.
time with it. Like him and Ryan Wood have they're so strong-willed to talk to you as much as they do.
Right. I mean, I've talked to both of them for like 15 years. Like you just said, Wood maybe not as long as 15 years, but Owczarski definitely. And Owczarski left to go to the Bengals and covered Cincinnati before all of this that they got going on, and then came back here. And I love Jim. It's good, dude. Okay, take a quick time. I'll come back. Things Sparky missed with Charlie Larson of the Milwaukee Admirals. Looking forward to that. Don't forget, if you're looking for somewhere to go watch the game, coming up on Sunday, Potawatomi Sportsbook, 2,000 square foot center screen right there. Over 30 sporting events at one time. Plus, you've got 2 levels. Amazing. You got gambling kiosks all over the place. Like literally after you get off of the parking garage, there's gambling kiosks right there that you can go make your bets at. Then right across from that is Rock and Brews. Amazing, right? You have all these fine dining restaurants, Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen, food unmatched, homemade desserts and pastries, 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. There's nowhere else that is going to match what the Potawatomi Sportsbook can bring you. And they've got a Yuengling party going on as well in the annex. You can buy tickets for that. Go hang out and party. Yuengling beer, man. Now in Wisconsin. Yuengling beer, my brother, I believe, would go down to Tennessee to go get Yuengling beer.
Really? Tennessee?
I think it was Tennessee.
And that's like all the people coming up here to come get the spotted cow every time.
Right.
Illinois, all the people that I went to school with, my girlfriend's family, they're all like, oh, can you bring some down? Every time I came back up.
That's how it was for Yuengling. Or if you knew people down south, you'd have to make a connection with them in order to get the Yuengling beer. And now it's here in Wisconsin. And again, so they're throwing a party at the annex right there next to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. All of this information, if you want to reserve a seat inside the Potawatomi Sportsbook, just go to Potawatomi.com and sign up today. Things Sparky missed, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. Coming up next, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Wisconsin Sports Daily serving up my Wednesdays. Getting ready for a Giannis trade if it happens. I told Tommy my plan. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that, dog. I'll be at home. I ain't doing what you want me to do. Yeah, you are. We're going to have some
He can
fun.
call in, yeah.
You call in, no. Hot Stove Weekly, 5 to 7 coming up. Jake Bowers coming up at 5:30. 6:30, Logan Henderson, Brewers pitcher, with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz again from 5 until 7 every Wednesday night here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Joining us now from Jim Owczarski to Charlie Larson of the Milwaukee Admirals on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. What's going on, Charlie? Charlie.
I don't know if you can hear me, Sparky. I'm having some technical difficulties because I can't hear you.
I can hear you. Yes, I can. All right. How about this? How about I'll put you down, Charlie? Why don't you just call him and we'll get him on the phone, which will be just fine as well. And with that, let's do this.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, time to get caught up on the Milwaukee Admirals. We're going to try this again on X and on YouTube. All right, Charlie Larson of the Milwaukee Admirals joins us one more time. We always talk with somebody from the Admirals every Wednesday. We've had John Greenberg the last couple of weeks at Harris Tour. Charlie Larson jumps back in for today. Charlie, how are we doing today?
I'm great, Sparky. How about yourself? I like the other Charlie's hat. Great hat he's wearing today. That looks nice.
Yeah, it does. It does look nice. Absolutely.
I like to wear it on Wednesdays. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, Charlie Larson. Big night coming up Friday night. Low Cash performing on Nashville night.
Saturday night, as a matter of fact.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, come on.
Right at it says February 7th, Saturday, and I still said Friday. What an idiot. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't worry. That just I think that comes with all this experience that we've had over the years. Is that's not old, it's experience. Anyways, Saturday night, Low Cash, post-game concert, Admirals Concert Series. We do 4 of them a year, usually. National recording artists, always a couple, usually at least 1 and probably 2 country shows is what we do. Low Cash, you might have seen them. They played in on Sunday at the Outdoor Stadium Series game in the NHL. Yeah, so they're awesome. They're going to kill it. And obviously, Music City, Nashville, they're our affiliate. They're the home of country music. And so that's why we have Nashville night. Nash from the Predators, he'll be here. We'll do a bunch of stuff that, kind of involves Nashville and some of the things that they do down there. Just a little change it up. Good little theme for us to do it. And, who doesn't want to see a very muscular prehistoric animal out there? Roscoe is not muscular. Let's be real. He's not muscular.
No, he's not. More importantly, it's Girl Scout night. So will there be Girl Scout cookies available for sale if I come to Panther Arena?
There won't be, and it's because we have so many. There's literally 1,200 Girl Scouts coming to this game. So unless unless you're bringing your half a year's salary with you, Sparky, which maybe isn't the worst idea.
Why not? If you're the Admirals, why not just cut a deal with the Girl Scouts themselves and have a concession stand for Girl Scout cookies during the run of when they're on sale?
Like straight up, but then we'd have all of the different councils fighting over who gets to do them.
You take the money.
Just the Admirals. Well, it'd be like, no. It'd be like, here's one for you and a one for me and a one for you. And if you know a scout, if you know a Girl Scout, like a Girl Scout cookie mom, and you see like their garage right around not this time of year, in about a month or 6 weeks, they can't even park a car in there because they got so many Girl Scout cookies to distribute. So
you can bring them to my house. I'll eat all of them. Hey, we only got like 2 minutes left. I got to tell you a quick story. So I never thought I would ever say this, but I had a 3K parent-teacher conference today for my daughter. Didn't know that was a thing. Gave me a report card, whole deal. It was something. And then when we were all done talking, she started talking about how she loves the Admirals and how they went on a weekday back in like October or something, and they haven't paid for a ticket, I don't know on how long, because it's the weekday winning tickets for the next weekday. It's been an unbelievable run.
Yeah, it ended last night, unfortunately. But if you bought a ticket for that game, I believe it was October 28th. If you bought that ticket, you got 7 free games out of that ticket.
Crazy.
7 free games. That ticket could have cost you $15 or $20, and you got 7 Admirals games out of it. And hey, props to her for making it to all those games too. That's not an easy thing to do with kids and everything like that. So that's awesome for her. But yeah, we've been really, really good on weekdays. Unfortunately, we lost last night, but hey, the best time to start a new streak is the next game.
And again, talk about promotions. That's a heck of a promotion when you can get tickets to 7 free games.
Yeah, for one
game. For one game. That's
usually it's buy one, get one free. For us, buy one, get 7 for free.
Crazy. There he is, Charlie Larson of the Milwaukee Admirals. Thank you so much, dude. We'll talk next Wednesday.
All right, thanks, Sparky. And thank your 3K teacher for me as well.
Yeah, she's a big fan. Loves the Admirals. All right, coming up next, Hot Stove Weekly with the franchise, Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz, Jake Bowers, the man crush. We'll meet Tommy Wirtz unless Giannis gets traded. That'll take care of that. But Jake Bowers at 5:30, Logan Henderson at 6:30. Enjoy the rest of your night, Wisconsin. It's been Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Toodles!